Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, follow me, yeah. Follow me, yeah, to the Sabbath, yeah. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, follow me, yeah, to the Sabbath day. Then we go and keep it holy and make it to the next day. Do you know what today is? It's our hidden history. You can learn in short space, but the time's still running, don't let it waste. Yeah, you can learn with me, cause when I'm reading, oh, it's so amazing, so amazing. I flip the page, I see you written down again and again. I'm humble and I'm hearkening, that if you will today, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, follow me, yeah. Follow me, yeah, to the Sabbath, yeah. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Friday, yeah, to the Sabbath day. Then we go and keep it holy and make it to the next day. Do you know what today is? It's our hidden history. You can learn in short space, but the time's still running, don't let it waste. Yeah, you can learn with me, cause when I'm reading, oh, it's so amazing, so amazing. I flip the page, I see you written down again and again. I'm humble and I'm hearkening, that if you will today, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, follow me, yeah. Follow me, yeah, to the Sabbath, yeah. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Friday, yeah, to the Sabbath day. Then we go and keep it holy and make it to the next day. Do you know what today is? It's our hidden history. for the right turn to make all the change you made. If you really want right, just hold on tight and I'll take you to the place to be. Do you know what today is? It's our hidden history. Our hidden history. Do you know what today is? Our hidden history. Tell me, do you know? Time running is a maze. All the things you can learn in short space, but the time's still running, don't let it waste. Yeah, you can learn with me, cause when I'm reading, oh, it's so amazing, so amazing. I flip the page, I see you written down again and again. I'm humble and I'm hawking it, that if you were today, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, follow me, follow me, to the Sabbath, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Friday, to the Sabbath day. Then we go and keep it holy, we make it to the next day. Do you know what today is? It's our hidden history. You can learn in short space, but the time's still running, don't let it waste. Yeah, you can learn with me, cause when I'm reading, oh, it's so amazing, so amazing. I flip the page, I see you written down again and again. I'm humble and I'm hawking it, that if you were today, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, follow me, follow me, to the Sabbath, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Friday, to the Sabbath day. Then we go and keep it holy, we make it to the next day. Do you know what today is? It's our hidden history. maze. All the things you can learn in short space, but the time's still running, don't let it waste. Yeah, you can learn with me, cause when I'm reading, oh, it's so amazing, so amazing. I flip the page, I see you written down again and again. I'm humble and I'm hearkening, that if you will today, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, follow me, yeah, follow me, yeah, to the Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, follow me, yeah, to the Saturday, then we go and keep it holy and make it to the next day. Do you know what today is? It's our hidden history. You can learn in short space, but the time's still running, don't let it waste. Yeah, you can learn with me, cause when I'm reading, oh, it's so amazing, so amazing. I flip the page, I see you written down again and again. I'm humble and I'm hearkening, that if you will today, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, follow me, yeah, follow me, yeah, to the Saturday. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Friday, yeah, to the Saturday. Then we go and keep it holy and make it to the next day. Do you know what today is? It's our hidden history. Things you can learn in short space, but the time's still running, don't let it waste. Yeah, you can learn with me, cause when I'm reading, oh, it's so amazing, so amazing. I flip the page, I see you written down again and again. I'm humble and I'm hearkening, that if you
Shalom. I can talk? All right, here we go. Oh, snap. Hey, Shalom, you're now tuned into
Our Hidden History Radio Show.
Hey, shout out to Officer Amos and the team back there. Officer Manny.
Made daddy.
Yes, sir. Hey, so Shalom, welcome back to Our Hidden History. Hey, so I know y'all seen, we didn't put the thumbnail up, right? But the title, we changed the title. So we already dealt with the 12 feathers. We already dealt with the emperors, the 12 emperors, which is the 12 feathers. And we started going into the persecutions that was happening to our people under those various emperors. But now I'm going to deal with another emperor that came after Domitian. His name was, after Nerva. So you had Nerva, you had Trajan. So we're going to deal with what happened to us under Trajan, which was the third persecution that happened, all right? So we're still in the Echoes of Rome, but we're going to deal with the third persecution that happened under the Emperor Trajan. Because remember, under Emperor Nerva, under Domitian banished John the Revelator to the island of Patmos. That happened under Emperor Domitian, right? Now then, after Emperor Domitian died, and Emperor Nerva took over, and he released those that was banished, so they were able to go back to where they were from, all right, including John the Revelator, all right. So now we're gonna deal with Trajan. What happened to us under Trajan, and also, I don't know if I'm gonna get to it today, Lord's will. I want to deal with the revolt, the Cyrenian revolt that went down around the year 115, 117 A.D. Okay, so Lord's will, we get around to that. All right, but hey, let's do it. Give me history of the Jews, Christian church. History of the Christian church. All right. Hey, put the title up of the book too. History of the Christian church. Yep, history of the Christian church. What year is that?
The history of the Christian church, 1824.
Right. So that's the year 1824. All right. So white eyes only. It was only for Esau's eyes. That's it. All right. We couldn't read or write at that time, so they was able to pass the information back and forth to each other. All right. But now we can read. Now we can read. All right. Go to page 119. The first page. Go to the first page. Go to 120 real quick. Let me see what you got. All right, go back to, is there 118 or 117? Yep, right there. Yep. Read that.
Section 1. The state of the Christian profession under the reign of Trajan.
So this is the state under the Christian profession, under the gospel, under the reign of Trajan. Okay. Hey, so remember, the truth is still going on. It's still, you still got us, those of us that still is converting to the truth and so forth at this time. All right. Remember, you had martyrs at this time named, you had Quadritus. We're going to read about them again. You had Ignatius. You had Polycarp. You had them around this time period right here. Third persecution. All right. Read that.
There is more truth than would at first strike the mind of a superficial observer. In Dr. Jordan's remark, that Christianity was, at the beginning, more likely to prosper under bad than under good emperors.
Now understand, he said that the gospel was more to prosper under bad emperors than good emperors. Okay? Because why? Because under the bad emperors, that's going to force us to come out bolder. They putting us to death. Everybody going to want to know what's going on. Why are they putting these people to death? That's going to bring more attention to the truth. That's why under the bad emperors, the truth was able to grow more and more and more. Then under good emperors, we what? We had ease.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
We had ease under the good emperors, right? But under the bad emperors, when they start persecuting us, putting us to death, that sheds more light onto us. Why?
Like it says, in your affliction, you should seek me early.
Right. Now you're going to seek the Most High. Get that scripture. Yep. Hosea 5:15.
The book of Hosea,
chapter 5 and verse 15.
Read.
I will go and return to my place till they acknowledge their offense
Read.
and seek my face. In their affliction, they will seek me early.
Right. So under these emperors, under the bad emperors, we were being afflicted. All right, we were being afflicted. So therefore, a lot of us started to seek the Lord. All right.
Hey, officer, that's like the same thing today when we talk about how we would rather Trump be in office than Biden.
Yeah.
Because we know stuff gonna go down with Trump in there.
Yeah, because Trump gonna tell the truth.
Yeah.
He gonna tell the truth.
What you got to lose?
Right. He gonna tell it like it is, and that's what our people need to hear.
Right.
That's exactly what our people need to hear. All right. We don't need and Trump is they call him a conservative. He's like a conservative. That's what they call him. Now under a liberal president, he's saying the same thing, but he's gonna make it more deceptive. He's gonna hide it.
Right.
All right. So our people are more fooled under a good emperor or a good president. They're more fooled under a good, someone that's more liberal.
They put to sleep.
Right. They get put to sleep. Right. You understand? Read that again.
There is more truth than what at first strike the mind of a superficial observer.
Uh-huh.
And Dr. Jordan's remark that Christianity was, at the beginning, more likely to prosper under bad than under good emperors, especially if the latter were tenacious of their religious rites and ceremonies.
Right. Because you had those emperors like Nero. Okay. You had Caligula, Claudius. They loved their religious rites and ceremonies. So if we wasn't partaking in that, they was putting us to death. That's what was happening. Read on.
Accordingly, from the death of Christ to the reign of Vespasian, a period of about 37 years, the Romans paid little regard to the progress of the gospel.
So look, the gospel went under the radar for 37 years. For 37 years after Christ, it went under the radar. Now, we do know we was being persecuted by Herod, Agrippa, and so forth and so on. But it wasn't on it wasn't on a national level where Rome paid attention to it. Where Rome said, nah, we got to focus on them. Just like they're going to do to us today. They're going to turn the focus on us. Right now, they got their eyes on us.
Under the radar.
Under the radar, though. But that's how the gospel was at this time period also. Go read that again.
Accordingly, from the death of Christ to the reign of Vespasian, a period of about 37 years,
Read.
The Romans paid little regard to the progress of the gospel.
Read. So they paid little pride. They didn't know how much it was spreading. They didn't know how many converts we had, anything like that. They didn't pay that much regard to it. Go ahead. They didn't care for it. Go ahead.
They were ruled by weak or frantic and vicious emperors. The magistrates and senators, and every worthy man of any note, stood in continual fear for their own lives.
Why? Because Esau fighting Esau. They were fighting. It was like a civil war within themselves, killing each other, assassinating each other, trying to take one out, trying to take over the seat of authority, trying to become the emperor. All right? So that's what was going on internally amongst Esau.
Civil wars.
Civil,
the four emperors, the year of the four emperors.
Year of the four emperors. So they didn't pay attention to what. So at that time, the gospel just being taught. It was being set before their eyes at that time. All right, just like today. Go ahead.
And the empire was a scene of confusion, desolation, and misery. Gibbon, in one short paragraph, has sketched a tolerably correct picture of the state of the Roman government during the times of which we are now treating.
Read.
And the reader cannot be displeased at my transplanting it into these pages. The annals of the emperors, says he, exhibit a strong and various picture of human nature, which we should vainly seek among the mixed and doubtful characters of modern history. In the conduct of these monarchs, we may trace the utmost lines of vice and virtue, the most exalted perfection, and the meanest degeneracy of our own species. The golden age of Trajan and the Antonines had been preceded by an age of iron.
Right. Go ahead.
It is almost superfluous to enumerate the unworthy theater on which they were acted, have saved them from oblivion.
No, you skipped the whole line.
Oh, excuse me. It is almost superfluous to enumerate the unworthy successors of Augustus.
Dang.
Their
You skipped all that?
Yeah.
Their unparalleled vices and the splendid theater on which they were acted have saved them from oblivion. The dark, unrelenting Tiberius, the furious Caligula, the feeble Claudius, the profligate and cruel Nero, the beastly Vitellius, and the timid, inhuman Domitian are condemned to everlasting infamy.
Right, so they condemned to everlasting infamy. Go to the next page. Go to the next page. Hey, I want to get to the letter between Trajan, Emperor Trajan, and Pliny the Elder. I want to get to the letter between those two, what they were saying at that time period about us. All right, go ahead.
If a man were called to fix, says the same elegant...
Jump down. I don't want all this. Jump down. Right, Trajan ascended the throne.
Trajan ascended the throne of the Caesars in the year 98, and soon afterwards conferred the government of the province of Bithynia upon his friend, the ingenious and celebrated Pliny. The character of the latter is one of the most amiable in all pagan antiquity. In the exercise of his office as proconsul, the Christians, against whom the severe edicts which had been issued by preceding emperors seemed to be still in force, were brought before his tribunal.
Right, so he's looking up so now that he's in office, he's looking up the different policies now that was prior to him coming into the office. All right, just like a president coming into the office, now they looking up the old, like what the last president did and so forth. That's what he was doing. And he was seeing that there were laws still against us. Okay? Go ahead.
Having never had occasion to be present at any such examinations before, the multitude of the criminals and the severity of the laws against them seemed to have greatly struck him and caused him to hesitate how far it was proper to carry them into execution.
Right. So now he's looking at these different laws, these different decrees and edicts that was set against us. So he's looking at the papers. He's like, okay. He's like, all right, so they still persecuting them. All right, so now he's going to carry that on. Just just like today, the president would carry on. He would, where the last president left off, he would go on from there. Same thing. Go ahead.
Without first consulting the emperor upon the subject. The letter which he wrote to Trajan upon this occasion, as well as the answer of the latter, are happily preserved and are among the most valuable monuments of antiquity, on account of the light which they throw upon the state of the Christian profession at this splendid epoch. The letter
epoch just mean that time period. Go ahead.
The letter of Pliny seems to have been written in the year 106 or 107 and is as follows.
So now we're going to read the letter between Pliny, which was like a governor at that time, and Emperor Trajan. Remember, he's looking at the edict of all the laws and so forth that was set against the Christians, set against us at that time. Read.
See Pliny, to the Emperor Trajan wishes health. Sire, it is customary with me to consult you upon every doubtful occasion. For where my own judgment hesitates, who is more competent to direct me than yourself, or to instruct me where uninformed? I never had occasion to be present at any examination of the Christians before I came into this province.
So he don't know what's going on. He don't know how to deal with it, right? So he like, yo, Before I became governor of this province, I didn't know what to do with the Christians. I didn't know what to do with this sect. Go ahead.
I am therefore ignorant to what extent it is usual to inflict punishment or urge prosecution.
So how do I handle them? Okay, I see in the laws, I see in the edict that we can lock them up for this, for that, and this, that, and the third. But what do I do after that? How do I carry it on? Go ahead. How do I proceed? Go ahead.
I've also hesitated whether there should not be some distinction made between the young and the old, the tender and the robust, whether pardon should not be offered to penitents, or whether the guilt of an avowed profession of Christianity can be expiated by the most unequivocal retraction.
Read.
Whether the profession itself is to be regarded as a crime. However innocent in other respects the professor may be, or whether the crimes attached to name must be proved before they are made liable to punishment. In the meantime, the method I have hitherto observed with the Christians...
So now he's saying, look, after I did arrest them, after I did lock them up, the method that I did use against them, go ahead.
Observed with the Christians who have been accused as such has been as follows.
Watch this.
I interrogated them.
He did what?
I interrogated them.
He interrogated them. Put you in a room, interrogation room. Okay, just 4 walls. And interrogate you.
Inquisition.
Inquisition. Go ahead.
Are you Christian?
Are you a Christian? Are you an Israelite? Read.
If they avowed it, I put the same question a second.
So he switched it up. This is what happened in interrogation. They switch up the questions on you. All right. So the first question is simple. Are you an Israelite? Are you a Christian? Go ahead.
The same question a second and a third time, threatening them with the punishment decreed by the law.
So if you said yes, I'm a Christian. Yes, I'm an Israelite. So he asked you a second time. Okay, I'm gonna ask you again. Are you a Christian? Are you an Israelite? He might have switched it up somehow. Like, yes. He asked you a third time. He trying to grieve your spirit at this point. Like, damn, I just told him. He just keep asking. See if you're gonna change your mind. Then he do what?
And a third time, threatening them with the punishment decreed by the law.
Right. So now you done said it a third time. Now you're getting threatened with the punishment decreed by law. Read.
If they still persisted, I ordered them to be immediately executed.
So he never hesitated. He just went and executed us, right? Go ahead.
For of this I had no doubt, whatever was the nature of their religion, that such perverseness and inflexible obstinacy certainly deserved punishment.
So he didn't even know. He don't even know the nature of what's really going on, what we do. He just know in the policies and so forth that it says that look, we are to be executed, or we to be brought to the courts, we to be interrogated and so forth and so on. But he don't know exactly what is it that we do.
He's reading the punishments that were set forth by his predecessors, and he's like, if these punishments are this severe, then they must be into something perverse.
Something. That's it.
Like, so I'm just gonna keep going.
I'm just gonna follow. I'm gonna follow what my predecessors did. So he's not even questioning nothing. Like, okay, you a Christian? Oh, all right, execute them. So now he's thinking like, damn, how'd I really go about this? I'm just following y'all. But what? I'm not putting thought into it. I'm just doing what y'all say. But what's going on? Go ahead.
Some that were infected with this madness, on account of their privileges as Roman citizens, I reserved to be sent to Rome to be referred to your tribunal. In the discussion of this matter, accusations multiplying, a diversity of cases occurred. A schedule of names was sent me by an unknown accuser. But
Traitor.
A traitor, an informant. An informant, right? Go ahead, read that again.
A schedule of names was sent me.
So, he sent the schedule of names. So, whoever the accuser was before that got arrested, they interrogate him to the point he like, look, I give you a list of names. I give you some names and addresses, where they live, all that. That's what he did. That was a traitor. That was an informant. He betrayed his brother. Go ahead.
A schedule of names.
Hey, let's read that. Matthew 24.
The book of Matthew, chapter 24.
Start at verse 9.
Yes, sir. Verse 9. Then shall they deliver you up to be afflicted, and shall kill you, and ye shall be hated of all nations for my name's sake. Mm-hmm. And then shall many be offended.
So right here, this brother right here was offended. He got offended, and read.
And shall betray one another, and shall hate one another.
So this is what you've seen. Read that again.
And they shall deliver you up.
All right, you good. Read the page again. I'm sorry.
Oh, sorry. Yes,
a schedule of names was sent me by an unknown accuser.
So this is what was going on. Now you have a traitor, an informant. He sent a schedule of names. A schedule of names. So he made a schedule. So there's address, everything on there. Go ahead.
But when I cited the persons before me, many denied the fact that they were or even had been Christians.
So you got some that even denounced, like, nah, I was a Christian. I was never a Christian. Go ahead.
And they repeated after me an invocation of the gods.
Read that part again. They schedule names.
A schedule of names was sent me by an unknown accuser.
Read.
But when I cited the persons before me, many denied the fact that they were or even had been Christians.
So hold on.
They denied Christ.
Right. But listen, he said a schedule of names was sent to him by unknown accuser. But when I cited the persons, right? When I cited the persons before me, meaning those schedule of names, they went and got them.
Yep. Went to talk to them.
They went to interrogate them. So by the time he brought them in and interrogate them, they denied the fact that they were ever Christians. They were ever Israelites. Go ahead.
And they repeated after me an invocation of the gods and of your image, which for this purpose I had ordered to be brought with the statutes of the other deities.
So they renounced that they were Israelites. They renounced that they were Christians.
So and they repeated after me an invocation of the God. So they started praying to these idols.
Damn. Read.
They're gonna bring Caesar bow, and then
he brings Caesar bow in.
Yep. Bring Caesar bow, start praying to him with the little crucifix.
Yep, crucifix come in, the beads and all that. He's like, all right.
Virgin Mary, all that.
Hey, look, you say you're a Christian, show me.
Yep.
Just show me.
Show me how you're a good Christian today.
A good slave. Read.
They performed sacred rites with wine and frankincense.
Damn. So now we perform sacred rites. They perform sacred rites with what?
Wine and frankincense.
Read.
And execrated Christ. None of which things I am assured a real Christian can ever be compelled to do.
Right. The righteous.
They came out from us. They weren't of us.
They weren't of us. They were the ones that were called. They were called,
but not chosen.
Go ahead.
These, therefore, I thought proper to discharge. Others, named by an informer.
We got another informer. Go ahead.
At first acknowledged themselves Christians.
So at first they say, yeah, I'm a Christian. At first, remember how he did it. He posed the question the first time. He posed the question 3 times to them. Are you a Christian? Are you a Christian? So at first they're like, yeah, I'm a Christian. You know, you standing strong. I'm a Christian. Go ahead.
Others, named by an informer, at first acknowledged themselves Christians.
And did what?
And then denied it.
And then denied. Why do you think they denied it? What's happening at this point? Torture.
That's the 4 types of Israelites in Mark 4.
Right. You remember you under torture at this point.
Hey, also, you know this whole thing reminds me of is the story of the 3 holy children, because they were accused before the king, and then the king had an inquisition against them. Hey, was that true what they said?
Yeah.
They said, yeah. So, all right, look, all you got to do is bow down to these gods, and you won't go through this torment.
That's
I'm
it.
about to go through.
Right, that's it. And Daniel, them, they didn't give a damn. you can do what you want. Right? Whether our God delivers or not, you can do what you want. But we not bound down to your image. All right, so read that part again. These, therefore,
I thought proper to discharge. Others, named by an informer, at first acknowledged themselves Christians, and then denied it, declaring that
So others named by an informer, trust me, one of those informers was those of probably the last group that he interrogated. Yeah. Right? So read that apart. Read these, therefore, again.
These, therefore, I thought proper to discharge. Others, named by an informer, at first acknowledged themselves Christians.
At first, we acknowledge ourselves Christian. Go ahead.
And then denied it.
And then they denied it. Go ahead.
Declaring that though they had been Christians, they had renounced their profession some 3 years ago.
You see that? So that's those that was with us, but they left.
Offended or something, yeah.
They got bitter. They was offended, but they left. Right? Read that again. Read that part again.
Others, named by an informer, at first acknowledged themselves Christians and then denied it.
And then they denied it. Like, yeah, I used to be in that. Yeah, I was with them for 3, 4, 5 years.
Why I left IUIC.
Yep, why I left IUIC. Go ahead.
Declaring that though they had been Christians, they had renounced their profession some 3 years ago.
Yeah, I've been left them, man. You know what? I've been left them, man. I just felt though it wasn't for me. All right? It wasn't for me. Go ahead.
Others still longer, and some even 20 years ago.
Damn. So you got some that was with us, that was in the faith for 20 years. Damn! 20 years. And they renounce Christ after 20 years. They're like, yeah, I used to be. You hear that today? Somebody, I used to be an Israelite. You hear that on the streets. I used to be with y'all. Okay, go ahead.
All these worshiped your image and the statues of the gods, and at the same time execrated Christ.
Damn. Hey, look at the word execrate. Yeah, I used to be. I'm not no more though. I'm not an Israelite.
It's like hating or something. Yeah.
Execrate. Feel or express great loathing for.
Damn. Can't make that up. Get some synonyms. See the synonyms.
Revile. Denounce. Decry. Condemn.
So they reviled Christ. They denounced Christ. They decried. They condemned Christ.
So they call him, was it Beelzebub?
Beelzebub.
Lord of the Flies.
Read on.
Vilify.
They vilified Christ. Go ahead.
Detest.
They detest him.
Loathe.
All that goes into hated him. Go ahead.
Loathe.
Read.
Hate.
Hate. Go ahead.
Abhor.
They abhorred him.
Abominate. Despise.
They despised him.
Regard with disgust. Feel disgust for. Feel aversion, revulsion to. Excoriate.
Oh, look at the archaic. Go down to the old definition.
Curse.
They cursed Christ, man. They cursed Christ. Hey, give me the scripture that says, if you deny me before men.
Matthew 10:32. I think that's 33. 32 is a confess.
Yep, 33. The book of Matthew, chapter 10 and verse 33.
If you could, officer, start at verse 28, because this is the thing that they was going through at that time, during the tortures
Right.
and the persecution.
Yeah, read that.
Verse 28. And fear not them which kill the body, but are not able to kill the soul, but rather fear him who is able to destroy which is able to destroy both soul and body in hell.
Hey, remember we read in history of the Christian history of the Christians in early Rome. Right, the history of the Christians in early Rome. We read that this was recited over and over before they were martyred.
Right.
They read the scripture over and over and over again to build a spirit up, to get ready to be put to death. All right, go ahead.
Are not 2 sparrows sold for a farthing, and one of them shall not fall on the ground without your Father?
Meaning what? The authority of you being killed comes from the Most High. All right, the authority of you being killed comes from the Most High. No one can put their hands on you or kill you without the Most High's consent on that thing. He has to order that thing. Go ahead.
But the very hairs of your head are all numbered.
So that's how special we are. Go ahead.
Fear ye not, therefore. Ye are more value. You are of more value than many sparrows. Whosoever therefore shall confess me before men, him will I confess also before my Father which is in heaven.
Now the bishop been going over this numerous classes. You got deacons that been going over numerous classes. All right, the captains and so forth. So listen, it says, whosoever therefore shall confess me before men. Where you think we confessing Christ before men at? Interrogation room, tortures, courts. Okay, we ain't just out. It's not talking about us teaching, confessing them. No, this is you at the point of death. You at the point of death. That's what Christ's talking about. Go ahead, read it.
Whosoever therefore shall confess me before men, him will I confess also before my Father which is in heaven.
So this is what verse 32 is where we want to be. That's where we want to be, right? Read.
But whosoever shall deny me before men.
So verse 32 is the chosen. Verse 32 is the chosen. Read.
But whosoever shall deny me before men, him will I also deny before my Father which is in heaven.
So that's what these brothers did that we were reading about just now. They denied Christ without no type of hesitation. They renounced Christ just like that. And to worship Caesar Bo. All right? The white image. Go back. You got something?
You mind if I get scripture real quick?
Yep.
Can we get Hebrews chapter 12 and verse 15? Just talking about how you see those betrayers, a lot of them, like you said, they was a part of the truth at one time. But the reason they leave is because of offenses. Whether you've corrected, you ain't like the correction, you was put out for a certain reason, you didn't want to confess. These things happen and it builds up that root of bitterness. And it's telling you, we're reading about where the root of bitterness leads to. It leads to betrayal against Christ. Read that really quick.
Hebrews chapter 12, verse 15. Looking diligently, lest any man fail of the grace of God, lest any root of bitterness springing up trouble you, and thereby many be defiled.
So the root of bitterness will lead you to being defiled if you let it come from you. Come in you. Sorry, read on. Read on.
Verse 16. Lest there be any fornicator or profane person as Esau,
Go ahead.
who for one morsel of meat sold his birthright.
So when you let that root of bitterness come in you, you become like Esau. Why? Read on.
For ye know how that afterward, when he would have inherited the blessing,
We would have inherited the blessing if we did not let that root of bitterness come in you. If you allow offenses to offend you, guess what? You lose that inheritance. And what happens?
he was rejected. For he found no place of repentance, though he sought it carefully with tears.
And that's that end judgment. When you're before the Lord, guess what? You might seek it carefully with tears, but there's no confessing of you before the Most High.
It's a wrap. It's a wrap. All praises. All praises. Go back to the book now. Where was we at? Oh, yeah. Go to, and this was the account.
And this was the account which they gave me of the nature of the religion they once had professed, whether it deserves the name of crime or error.
So he says, and this was the account which they gave me of the nature of the religion they once had professed. All right. So this is how he started to come up to the knowledge of it, by interrogating those of us in the interrogation room and so forth. All right. By putting them to these different questions, various questions and so forth. Right. Go ahead.
Whether it deserves the name of crime or error, namely, that they were accustomed on a stated day to assemble before sunrise, and to join together in singing hymns to Christ as to a deity, binding themselves as with a solemn oath not to commit any kind of wickedness, to be guilty neither of theft, robbery, nor adultery, never to break a promise, or to keep back a deposit when called upon. Their worship being concluded, it was their custom to separate and meet together again for...
Hey, that's what Sapphira and Ananias did. They kept back, they kept back the deposit. So that's why they like, look, we are to keep back a deposit when called upon. All right? So that goes into what? Alms, charity, and so forth. Go ahead.
Their worship being concluded, it was their custom to separate and meet together again for a repast.
So it was our custom to separate. So listen. What he's going over right now, what he's saying in his letter right now is the information he gathered from those that he was interrogating. This is what they was bringing out to him. They was letting him know everything. Okay, letting him know everything. Ins and outs. Go ahead.
Promiscuous indeed, and without any distinction of rank or sex, but perfectly harmless.
Read.
And even from this they desisted, since the publication of my edict, in which agreeably to your orders I forbade any societies of that sort. For further information, I thought it necessary, in order to come at the truth.
All right, so listen to this. Read on.
To put to the torture 2 females who were called deaconesses.
So he said to put to the torture, so it let you know he was torturing them. All right? You was questioning and being tortured. Go ahead.
But I could extort from them nothing.
Hey, so you got 2 sisters he couldn't get nothing from. But the brothers is telling. The brothers going in. But the sisters, he couldn't get nothing from them. And they being tortured.
Where them sisters at today, man?
Where they at? Oh, they back. Read on. Read that again.
For further information, I thought it necessary, in order to come at the truth, to put to the torture 2 females who were called deaconesses.
Uh-huh.
but I could extort from them nothing.
He couldn't get nothing out of
I
them.
mean, these sisters were putting in work.
Yeah.
They're called deaconesses. They were helpers
They was helpers.
of the leaders in the body.
Except
They was like the mothers over the sisters.
That's what deacon means. Deacon means helper, assistant. So they were helping in the body. They weren't sisters that were on their phone all day doing nothing. They had their spirit built up for this.
Right. They was ready. That's your Mary Magdalene, Tabitha, Phoebe, who else? Dorcas. Okay, these sisters putting in major works. Just like you got the sisters today, all right, putting in major works in this truth. All right, go ahead.
But I can extort from them nothing except the acknowledgement of an excessive and depraved superstition. And therefore, desisting from further investigation, I determined to consult you, for the number of culprits is so great as to call for the most serious deliberation.
For the number of culprits is so great. Go ahead.
Informations are pouring in against multitudes of every age, of all orders, and of both sexes, and more will be impeached.
So he's getting information. Remember, he got informants. They bringing all types of information to him. That's why he's saying informations are pouring in against multitudes of every age. You got brothers who was turning informants quick, denouncing Christ, turning informants, and bringing in information. Names was just coming in.
That's probably why before when we were reading, he said he didn't know how to deal with the age, the old. Do I deal with them all the same? Because he's getting so much information. He's like, all right, how do I deal with all this now? Like, am I just going to blanket?
Children coming in, whole families he bring. It's wild. This is what was happening. This is going to happen again. You understand? So you giving family names, even down to the baby. He like, how am I supposed to deal with this? Go ahead.
For the contagion of this superstition hath spread not only through cities, but villages also, and even reached the farmhouses. I am of opinion, nevertheless, that it may be checked, and the successes of my endeavors success of my endeavors hitherto forbids despondency. For the temples, once almost desolate,
for the temples once almost desolate. Go ahead.
Begin to be again frequented. The sacred solemnities, which had for some time been intermitted, are now attended afresh. And the sacrificial victims, which once could scarcely find a purchaser, now obtain a brisk sale.
So what he's saying is he's saying that's how many of us at that time was denouncing Christ, man. To the point that even they was going back and they was denouncing Christ at a large scale.
It's like now they're saying a lot of the people, the church following is going down.
Yeah,
it's going to keep going down.
I'm going to get to that. Go ahead.
It's going to keep going down to a certain point.
It's going to keep going down. And then when the interrogations start back up, persecution come, they like, damn,
fill it back up.
I'm getting out of this. I'm out. Read that again. I am of opinion.
I am of opinion, nevertheless, that it may be checked, and the success of my endeavors hitherto forbids despondency. For the temples, once almost desolate, begin to be again frequented. The sacred solemnities, which have for some time been intermitted, are now attended afresh.
You know why? Because with the informants and so forth, they putting them under oath to go back. You know what I mean? Probably giving them rewards, paying them off. Like, you know, you burning incense now to Caesar bowl, whatever. So it's probably like you under oath to go back. I'm just saying.
It's probably part of their parole.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
So it's like just like an alcoholic has to go to AA meetings.
Yeah.
Like, you know what? You have to attend the church this Sunday, every Sunday.
Every Sunday. That's
for
part
your
of it.
Rehabilitation.
Right. That's what I'm trying to say.
Go back to being
go back.
swallowed.
That's what was going on. You was forced to go. That was part of the agreement. That was part of the agreement. Man, just keep going. I don't know why y'all looking at me. Read on.
And the sacrificial victims, which once could
Yo, my man crazy. Go ahead, read on.
I didn't say it, man.
And the sacrificial victims, which once could scarcely find a purchaser, now obtain a brisk sale. Whence I infer that many might be reclaimed, where the hope of pardon on their repentance.
He called it repentance.
The
When you went back to the white,
rehabilitation, yep.
right? When you went back to white man Jesus, that was repentance to Esau. Damn. Go ahead.
Whence I
Meaning you came back to be a slave.
Yep.
Welcome back.
Welcome home.
Welcome home.
Nigga.
Go ahead.
whence I infer that many might be reclaimed were the hope of pardon on their repentance absolutely confirmed.
Damn. So now, this is the letter that Emperor Trajan wrote back to Pliny, the elder. Okay, so this is the response. Go ahead.
My dear Pliny, you have done perfectly right.
Damn. So he said he started off. You doing good. You
job.
doing the right thing. Go ahead. What you was about to say?
Say, good job. man.
Good job.
You're doing really well.
Go ahead.
You have done perfectly right in managing as you have the matters which relate to the impeachment of the Christians. No one general rule can be laid down which will apply to all cases. These people are not to be hunted up by These people are not to be hunted up by informers.
So he's saying they're not to be hunted up by informers. That's what was going on. Okay, the informers was going in. The informers was informer means they're informants bringing information, intelligence. That's what they're doing. So he's saying these people are not to be hunted up by informers. You don't have to send the informers out to hunt them. Go ahead.
But if accused and convicted, let them be executed. Yet with this restriction, that if any renounce the profession of Christianity and give proof of it by offering supplication to our gods, however suspicious their past conduct may have been, they shall be pardoned on their repentance.
They shall be pardoned on their repentance. Read.
But anonymous accusations should never be attended to, since it would be establishing a precedent of the worst kind and altogether inconsistent with the maxims of my government.
Right, go down.
So like, if they celebrate Christmas, yo, they good.
Right.
Leave them alone.
Leave them alone. So it has to been if we was caught, I guess if we were, say we was out teaching or whatever, and we got locked up like that, then that's when they would go into the whole trial and so forth. But he's saying you don't have to send informants out to go search them out or whatever like that. So if we was on the streets teaching or passing out flyers somewhere or whatever the case is, we got arrested like that, then he was able to go ahead and do what he need to do. That's what the emperor is saying.
He's giving them counsel on how to deal with it.
How to deal with
Like,
it.
yo, you doing perfectly right, but do it like this, that, and the third.
Don't literally hunt them out. Is what he's saying.
You don't need to. They're gonna show
you don't need.
themselves.
They're gonna show themselves. You gonna be like, yo, he a Christian. He an Israelite. You gonna see the fringes. They're gonna be keeping the Sabbath, not eating pork. All right. So you're gonna see. You don't gotta send the informants out. You don't gotta make it known. Go ahead.
It is an obvious reflection from these letters that at this early period, Christianity had made an extraordinary progress in the empire. For Pliny acknowledges that the pagan temples had become almost desolate. Nor should we overlook the remarkable proof which they afford us of the state of the Christian profession and the dreadful persecutions to which the disciples of Christ were then exposed.
Read.
It is evident from them that by the existing laws, it was a capital offense, punishable with death, for anyone to avow himself a Christian.
You see that? Now, it says that it is obvious reflection from these letters that at this early period, Christianity had made an extraordinary progress in the empire. For Pliny acknowledges that the pagan temples had become almost desolate. All right, give me Acts 19. Because this is when it started to become desolate. When Acts chapter 19, you start at verse
26.
24.
Yes, sir. The book of Acts, chapter 19 and verse 24. For a certain man named Demetrius, a silversmith, which made silver shrines for Diana, brought no small gain.
So Diana is the same as Queen of Heaven, Semiramis, worshiping the moon, Astareth, or Astarte, Easter, Mother Nature. You could go on and on. That's Diana. Go ahead.
Brought no small gain unto the craftsmen, whom he called together with the workmen of like occupation, and said, Sirs, ye know that by this craft we have our wealth.
So my man called a meeting. Midday, he probably called a meeting like, yo, we need a meeting ASAP. Go ahead.
Moreover, ye see and hear that not alone at Ephesus, but almost throughout all Asia, this Paul hath persuaded and turned away much people, saying that they be no gods which are made with hands.
Read.
So that not only this our craft is in danger to be set at naught, but also that the temple of the great goddess Diana should be despised, and her magnificence should be destroyed, whom all Asia and the world worshipeth.
So at this time, we were leaving the temples. At this time, we were leaving the churches.
Dang.
Okay, we were leaving the church to the point that he had to call a meeting. Like, yo, we need to get together. We losing money. We got to do something. What's the plan? What we coming up with? Let's put our heads together, yo, because this is how I live. This is my living right here, making these. And now I'm not even selling nothing. All right? Now, let's bring it up to today. Let's bring it up to today. Give me that article. Black Americans see the biggest shift away from faith. Read that.
Black Americans see the biggest shift away from faith.
Read that part.
They are more unaffiliated African Americans, but they're also more likely to return. African Americans are among the most devout groups in religion research, often outranking other demographics in areas like religious practice, attendance, and belief. As a result, some predicted that young black adults will resist the moves away from faith seen among white millennials.
You see that? So as a result, some predicted that young black adults will resist the moves away from faith seen among white millennials. Go ahead.
Even with all the shifts in the faith landscape over the past several years, black Americans remain more religious than other groups and more likely than the average American to stay in the tradition they were raised in, according to a massive report released by Pew Research Center last year. But black nuns are growing, with 3 in 10 adults in the U.S. claiming no religious affiliation on surveys. The rise of the nuns has touched every corner of American society.
You see that? So our young adults, because you got our older folks, our older brothers and sisters. You know, they set in their ways, man. They ain't leaving. They is not leaving. But you got the younger generation that's coming up now. They're like, man, I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear nothing about white man Jesus. I'm done with that. What is he doing for us? Right? Go ahead.
Over more than a decade, the share of black Americans who say that they have no religious affiliation has risen more dramatically than whites, Hispanics, or Asians.
Right. Give me the other article. There's another one.
Detroit Today. How is declining church attendance affecting the black community? Church attendance numbers are declining in America, a trend that's only accelerated since the pandemic.
That's right. Right?
Historically, temples, churches, and mosques have been spaces of not just spiritual attainment, but also places to advocate for political and social change. Examples of religious leaders advocating for social justice are numerous within the black community, both in the past with those like Reverend Martin Luther King and Malcolm X, and the present like Reverend William Barber II and Reverend Al Sharpton. But church attendance numbers are declining in America, including within the black community, a trend that's only accelerated since the pandemic.
Nobody want to hear that BS no more, man. Go ahead.
Jason Oliver.
That shucking and jiving and you back flipping left and right. Nobody wants to deal with that no more. Go ahead.
Jason Oliver Evans, a PhD candidate at the University of Virginia focusing on Christian theology and African American religion, joined Nick Austin on Detroit Today, Monday, to discuss the shifting role of the black church in its own personal religious journey. Guess, Jason Oliver Evans is a PhD candidate in the Religious Studies Department in the University of Virginia, focusing on Christian theology and African American religion. He acknowledges that white attendance is declining. African Americans are still religious and attend Protestant services at steady numbers. Even though there is a decline in African American churches still exist, and their decline is at a slower pace than the white Protestant counterparts, said Evans.
So he said, even though there's a decline in African American churches still, they still out. They still in all the hoods, on every corner. They still there. All right, but there's a major decline. That's the point of reading this article. Today, back then, even today, there's a major decline in the churches. But let's give the reason for that. Give me Revelations.
I got another article too.
Okay.
Show the opposite of what's going on with that. I had
Hey, read that article first.
Just go down to. It says, let me see. This report right there. Yep, right there.
This report provides details on the prevalence and correlates of BHI, based on an original survey of 1,075 black Americans and 555 non-black Americans fielded in July 2023.
This is recent.
Findings include roughly 26% of the black population and 14% of the non-black population plausibly professes to believe that modern American blacks are descended from the ancient Israelites, the key belief of BHI. Roughly 9% of blacks and 3% of non-blacks credibly profess these beliefs and identify as Hebrew Israelites.
So as the attendance in the Caesar Bowl churches are going down, you're having more people, whether they're Israelites or not, believing that we are the Israelites.
That's right.
So as they're on the decline, we're on the rise.
We're on the rise. That's what's going on. And it's among the younger groups.
Yep.
The younger generation.
Yep. Keep reading.
Read on.
Profession of these beliefs and identification as a Hebrew Israelite is associated with warmer feelings towards Jews, but it is also associated with a greater willingness to agree with anti-Semitic beliefs. Profession of BHI beliefs or identification is associated with greater support for political violence, but only with support for interpersonal violence in the non-black sample.
So that's the BS they put it in there, just like they were slandering us back then, saying we're the cause of all this violence, and that's what they're doing. They're assassinating the character of who we are. So as you see, the point is, as you see the church memberships go down in Christianity, you're seeing more and more people believe that, yes, we are the people of the book. And that's what's going to happen.
That's right. Give me Revelations 12. You can start at 15.
Yes, sir. The book of Revelation, chapter 12 and verse 15. And the serpent cast out of his mouth water as a flood after the woman, that he might cause her to be carried away of the flood.
So the woman is Israel. Okay, the flood is the media. That's your media outlets, your movies, your social medias, all right, your TikToks, all of these things. All right, read that again.
And the serpent cast out of his mouth water as a flood after the woman.
That's your holidays, your Christmas, your Valentine's Day, your Thanksgivings, your New Year's. Read.
That he might cause her to be carried away of the flood.
Read.
And the earth helped the woman.
And the what?
And the earth helped the woman.
The earth helped Israel. Remember, the woman is Israel. The earth, which is the teachers going out to teach that our people, blacks, Hispanics, and natives are the Israelites according to the Bible. Okay, read.
Helped the woman. And the earth opened her mouth and swallowed up the flood which the dragon cast out of his mouth.
So guess what? We're swallowing up these lies with what? The Bible. Okay? That's what they're hearing on the streets. That's what they're seeing. All right? These lies are being swallowed up with the Bible. Okay? Esau's being revealed. Amalek is being revealed for who they are. The devil the Bible speaks of. All right? Give me Psalms 85:11.
The book of Psalms, chapter 85 and verse 11. Truth shall spring out of the earth.
You see that? So truth, the law, shall spring out of the earth. Read it again.
Truth shall spring out of the earth.
Okay, so the truth was spring out of the earth. That's the earth helping the woman, the teachers and so forth, bringing the truth that we are the Israelites according to the Bible. That's right. So that's why you have that decline in the black church. All praises to the Most High.
That's right.
All praises. All right. Now, we're going to take a quick break. All right. So we'll take a quick break. We'll be back after the break, and then we're going to start to go into, we're going to try to get to the the Cyrenian Revolt. All right. But you can call us at 267-702-6121. All right. You could call us at 267-702-6121, or you can text us at 267-702-6121. All right, see you after the break.
To the 12 tribes which are scattered abroad, greetings. So the same mission the disciples had is our mission today. Our mission is unlike any other mission throughout the world. I want everybody to understand that. Okay? There's no group on earth who has undertaken the true mission of the disciples of Christ to resurrect and gather the 12 tribes of Israel which have been scattered abroad. You may call it the diaspora today. The Bible uses other words, the scattered, okay? But it's the same thing. Our people who suffered during the time of colonialization, forced migration, sub-Saharan slave trade, transatlantic slave trade, and it seems like our people have been forgotten. But you are not forgotten. Israel united in Christ from corners to countries, gathering the 12 tribes of Israel. We gonna take the world.
I'm in the zone, walk in the building like give me my throne. You want the smoke, then it comes to the dome. I take over Texas and make it my home. Skirt, boom, fly through the room, flying a ship that look just like cartoon. You want the smoke, we got armies on moons. The Lord get an order, we move to the tune. 12 never lacking from Texas to Jackson. We been about action, the South be a faction. We got the numbers to make you a fraction. My Bible is precept, now that's really matching. Go to the place where they put us on ships. Throw with the power, I summon a whip. Don't do no talking, I gave all the options. Now give me my Bible and let's get it poppin'. Shout out to Dallas that beat a platoon. Look to the east and then back for the boom. We been up fighting from 12 until noon. Up burn a big house and then find all the coons. Let's go to war, let's go to war, let's go to war, let's go to war, let's go to war. Bring me my sword, let's go to war, let's go to war, let's go to war, let's go to war, let's go to war. Bring me my sword, let's go to war, let's go to war. Let's go to, let's
Give me
go
a
to
soldier,
war.
an officer, teacher, a reader, a flyer, a mic and a speaker. I gotta beseech him. I cut him, then pass it to deacon. The captain gon' feed him, and bishop gon' lead him. He bleeding, fatiguey, anemic. Your pastor been dancing with demons. He fall like the season is treason. When brothers believing, they turning to leeches. Them times been screeching. Pull up and go. Wartime. No zodiac. Look at them 4 signs. It's Caesar and Jesus, a kingdom you need to be seeking and looking for your tribe. I got Judah and Ephraim and Hill. Bible got secrets to heal. Bringing it closer, it's near. Shipping it, changing the gear. Breaking it, changing the feel. Making it plain and it's clear. Upright. Just around getting the foresight. Seeing the vision right from the beginning. But these niggas playing like Fortnite. We gotta repeat for real. I want to stand for real.
Family, Most High in Christ bless. I'm also Heles.
Officer Eliab, also getting.
And we're here with IUIC Puerto Rico.
That's right.
What we about to do is we're about to clean up our neighborhoods. All right. We don't only do it spiritually. We're going to do it physically. Let our light shine. All right. With the IUIC community cleanup movement. Build some community relations. Hopefully win some people over and give out some flyers. Let the word go out at the same time. So all praise be to the Most High. So pray.
I don't fear man, I just fear God. Open up your Bible, oh Lord. Listen to his voice, listen to your elders. You ain't got a choice. Gathering the 12 and prepare for war. Before I make a move, I prepare the Lord. I pray, lightning in my veins, you can call me Thor. About to shut the world like never before. Trying to save the world from eternal doom. Listening for trumpets before the boom. Like a new movie in the hood. Black Jesus in 3D coming soon. About time that we know that we work. Who survived through the worst of the worst. We done came from the dirt. Had flavor before I was birthed. In Israel, the salt of the earth. That's right. It's like tacos without any salsa. A hot wings without the sriracha. Yo lo hago por toda mi grasa. Arrepiéntete hoy, ¿qué te pasa? Arréglate tú y tu casa. No hay vida en doctrina falsa. Hay que hacer decisión como quiera. Tú vas a beber de la taza. Turn away from sin, do the running man. Niggas selling they soul for a half a pan. A couple gram likes and some Jordans. But all that bullshit ain't important. You sleeping with the enemy, you a deceiver. About to cut him off, hand me the cleaver. What's wrong with this dude? He got jungle fever. You was never with the squad, we don't really need.
The Hebrews Journal is back. This time we're here to bring you an authentic look into our realm from the outside world. So sit down, relax, and enjoy this exclusive Cuts from the Street edition brought to you by the Hebrews Journal. Premiering tonight on the Hebrews Journal YouTube channel. Shalom.
Hey, shalom, shalom, Most High Christ bless. This is Captain Hananiah from IUIC Los Angeles, out here in Kumasi, Ghana, building the minds of our people and bringing them back to the Lord in righteousness. You got a lot of people who just went to church and they got dead spirits, and we doing things they're not doing. We cleaning up the community. We fixing the gutters. We filling the potholes in. We working hard out here to let our people understand that only way it's going to get done is through us. We can't rely or wait on another nation to do the work for us. So we here in Kumasi, Ghana, waking the minds of our people up with the word of God. All praises to the Most High. He put the spirit on Bishop Nathaniel and the bishops, the deacons, the captains, the officers, the soldiers, who's in this work, enduring day in and day out, and getting work done throughout the 4 corners of the earth. Let's continue to build, and you men, wherever you at, make sure you fixing your communities, make sure you cleaning your communities, and make sure you being the pillar in your communities. Thus saith the Lord. All right? Shalom. What's that?
Hey, shalom, shalom. We're back from the break, all right? We're back from the break. Watch this. Let's get right into it. Give me page 123. Now, y'all remember Ignatius. Okay, he was one of the bishops at this time. We read about him, Polycarp. We read about Irenaeus, and we read about Quadratus. All right, we read about how they were martyred. Right. I want y'all to listen to this. Read this page.
Straight from the top, sir.
From what took place.
From what took place in the province of...
Hold on. Go back a page. Yep. It was.
It was indeed...
Go up. I'm sorry. I'm trying to go up. Hey, start at hence we see how.
Hence, we see how it happened that such good emperors as Trajan and Mark Antonine came to be found in the first rank of persecutors, a difficulty that hath very much embarrassed the inquirers.
Now, when it says he was a good emperor, now, when you might say, nah, he was still persecuting us, but remember in the letter, he said, you don't have to hunt him down. That was considered a good emperor. You don't have to chase them down. They're going to present themselves. You don't have to go after them like that, But if you do come across one, you can, do the following. You can still take them through the procedures and the process. And if they say they're a Christian or Israelite, execute them, right? So for him saying that he was considered a good emperor for that time, right? Go ahead.
A difficulty that hath very much embarrassed the inquirers into ecclesiastical antiquity.
Read.
And given a handle to the deist, who empoison everything, of pretending to suspect that there must be something very much amiss in primitive Christianity, while such wise magistrates could become its persecutors. Mm-hmm. But the reason is now manifest.
So the reason is shown for all of this. Go ahead.
The Christian pretensions overthrew a fundamental principle of paganism, which they thought founded in nature.
So he said the Christian pretensions overthrew a fundamental principle of paganism. Go ahead.
Which they thought founded in nature, namely the friendly intercommunity of worship.
The intercommunity of worship.
That's all one.
All one.
Mm-hmm. All together.
Democracy.
Bringing everybody together, just like in the Maccabees.
Yep. Go ahead.
And thus, the famous passage of Pliny the Younger becomes intelligible. For I did not in the least hesitate, but that whatever should appear on confession to be their faith, yet that their forwardness and inflexible obstinacy would certainly deserve punishment. What was the inflexible obstinacy? It could not be in professing a new religion. That was a thing common enough.
Right. So he's saying for I did not in the least hesitate, but that whatever should appear on confession to be their faith, yet that their frowardness and inflexible obstinacy would certainly deserve punishment. For believing in Christ, he's saying, look, our frowardness towards their paganism, it ain't had nothing to do with what we believed in. It ain't had nothing to do with that. Okay? And it was, for them, it was the hatred for Christ, but it was the fact that we wasn't with them. We wasn't inclusive, with them. Right? He's going to say it. Go ahead. If that makes sense, what I'm saying.
That's why our people, when we teach them about the truth of the Bible, they're always including the white man because it's seared in us since slavery to include him in everything we do because that's what we've been taught. And that's the way we survive in the flesh today.
Right.
So we're just like, how about the white man? How about that white man? Because they know if they exclude the white man, they're liable. They're going to be held liable, and they're going to be put to death if they don't.
Hey, that's why today Esau gotta know everything we talking about. If it's us amongst each other, they come right amongst you. At the job, they want to know, yo.
They said that it happened at the Quest too, multiple times.
Yeah, I heard. Hey, yo, what y'all talking about? Hey, what's going on?
Can we learn from you?
Why?
Sit down.
Because they see us, they like, nah, y'all supposed to include us. Mm-hmm. It's like it's an entitlement thing, man. Mm-hmm. Yeah. We run y'all, we run y'all, we rule over y'all. So wait, y'all gonna exclude us from what y'all got going on? We run this.
Mm-hmm. Right. Or like they say here, what is this inflexible obstinacy?
Right.
That's what it is, yo. When you're not including me, you're you're not. It's inflexible.
It's inflexible. Anything that's flexible, like flexible hours, and you go, But this is inflexible, meaning
it's not inclusive.
It's not inclusive.
Exclusive.
Right.
It's for our race only.
Hey, also remember after slavery, they made a law where it was unlawful for blacks to gather without a white man present. So you couldn't be gathering talking about the Bible or nothing without a white man being present there.
Hey, remember in Birth of a Nation? Remember when he started preaching? Esau was right next to him, making sure, like, yo, you better not go off and say nothing crazy. But remember, he snapped.
And guess what? That's always how we've been. You see Ezra 4.
Right.
About when we were building the wall up in our temple. We told the nations, yo, leave us alone. We're going to do this on our own. Matthew 15:24, when Christ himself said, yo, I ain't come but for the lost sheep of the house of Israel. Right. That's the inflexible obstinacy that they hate.
They hate that.
They hate when they're not included.
Let's get that with Nehemiah. I like
Ezra 4?
Yep, let's get that. That's a perfect example. They can't stand it. I'm telling you. I know a lot of us experience it on our jobs. I'm telling you, man. I remember one time it was just me and this other brother. We were just talking, and we was in the aisle, and he was like, "Yo," and my manager at that time, he was Elam. So it's all nations. It ain't just Esau. It was Elam, and he like, "Yo," he called us over. He said, "What y'all talking about?" Literally, he said, "What y'all talking about?" And I'm like, "What?" Like. But they was always on us, making sure, we ain't plotting or something. You know what I mean? That's the way Esau think. Because remember, they hate unity. They don't want us. They want us to be apart at all times. They don't want to see any of us coming together.
That's the former FBI director said that.
Right. Now, when it's talking about unity, when he's saying unity, he's not talking about us coming together on a cookout. You already know it's going to be. We got a reputation at cookouts and so forth in the world, at cookouts and so forth, that it's going to get shot up, right? Because it's the hatred, right, amongst us. But when he's talking about unity, he's talking about us coming together under one banner, under the Bible, under Christ. That's what he means, coming together under Christ, meaning blacks and Hispanics and natives, all right? Coming back as the 12 tribes of Israel. That's what he means. They said that's the most dangerous threat. Read it. Bring it up. Bring it up. Read that.
When FBI Director J. Edgar Hoover was asked what, in his opinion, was the single greatest threat to the United States of America, he responded, Negro unity. Take a moment to let that sink in.
He said, take a moment to let that sink in. He's like, yo, just think about that. I want you to let that sink in. What I just said. That was heavy, meaning that was deep what I said. I want you to think about it. Okay. Read that.
4, right?
Yep.
The book of Ezra, chapter 4 and verse 1. Now when the adversaries of Judah and Benjamin heard that the children of the captivity builded the temple unto the Lord God of Israel, then they came to Zerubbabel and to the chief of the fathers and said unto them, Let us build with you, for we seek your God as ye do.
Right. Let us help you. We just like y'all, man. We worship the same God. Go ahead.
We do sacrifice unto him since the days of Sargon, king of Ashur, which brought us up hither. But Zerubbabel and Jeshua and the rest of the chief of the fathers of Israel said unto them, Ye have nothing to do with us to build an house unto our God, but we ourselves together will build unto the Lord God of Israel.
See that? We knew, look, we don't need you heathens for nothing. Okay? This is our God. We build to our God. You go back to your idols.
Remember that clip from the movie when Denzel was playing Malcolm X?
Yep.
And the white woman came up to him and asked, how can I help?
Yep.
He said nothing.
You say you can't do nothing for us.
Can't do nothing.
This ain't about you. Read on.
As King Cyrus, the king of Persia, have commanded us. Then the people of the land weakened the hands of the people of Judah and troubled them in building.
You see that? They got mad. They said, oh, yeah, nigga.
You don't want to include us?
You don't want to include us, huh? Y'all want to be inflexible, right? So they did what? Read that again.
Then the people of the land weakened the hands of the people of Judah and troubled them in building.
Read on.
And hired counselors against them to frustrate their purpose all the days of Cyrus, king of Persia, even unto the reign of Darius, king of Persia.
You see that?
So now today, we're not building a physical house for God. We're building up the children of Israel, which is the temple of the Lord today.
Right.
And what are they doing? Because we're not including them, they're trying to stop us, but it's not going to stop. Thus saith the Lord.
That's right. Now give me 1 Esdras 5 and 70. 5 and 70. It goes more in depth to what we just read in Ezra. This is the book of Esdras. Same prophet, Esdras. Go ahead.
1 Esdras, chapter 5 and verse 70. Then Zerubbabel and Jeshua and the chief of the families of Israel said unto them, It is not for us and you to build together an house unto the Lord our God. Mm-hmm. We ourselves alone will build unto the Lord of Israel, according as Cyrus, the king of the Persians, have commanded us. But the heathen of the land, lying heavy upon the inhabitants of Judea, and holding them straight, hindered their building.
How? Verse 73.
And by their secret plots.
And by their what?
And by their secret plots.
And by their secret plots. That's your SPLC. Okay. Your Canary Missions. ADL. By their secret plots. Get you fired from your job. They did whatever they had to do to hinder the building. Read.
And popular persuasions.
So they started
hate group.
Hate group. That's the media. Today, that's the media. They putting the media out. Okay? To say that, yeah, we a hate group and so forth. Go ahead.
And commotions.
They
hindered the finishing of the building all the time that King Cyrus lived. So they were hindered from building for the space of 2 years until the reign of Darius.
Yo, for 2 years, we like, nah, this is crazy, man. Let's fall back for a little bit. All right? Until they calm down with this. So for 2 years, they was going in. They was going in, man. They had a campaign. It was a campaign against us. All right? It was a campaign against us. Go back to the page.
You know, as an example too, officer, when they trying to stop, when we going into, these colleges or places, then you hear the teachers or the administration of the school saying, oh, well, we heard about y'all on the news, so we can't let you come here and try to build the people there.
Yeah, they're making calls.
Yeah.
They get the call. Yeah. They already know. They get the call, man. All right, go ahead. Where'd you at? Oh, for I did not.
What was the inflexible?
For I did not in the least hesitate, but that whatever should appear on confession to be their faith, yet that their forwardness and inflexible obstinacy would certainly deserve punishment. What was the inflexible obstinacy? It could not be in professing a new religion. That was a thing common enough. It was the refusing all communion with paganism.
You see that? That was refusing all communion with paganism. We don't want we want to separate. You don't want to do what y'all doing. Go ahead.
Refusing to throw a grain of incense on their altars. For we must not think, as is commonly imagined, that this was at first enforced by the magistrate to make them renounce the religion, but only to give a test of its hospitality and sociableness of temper. Mm-hmm. It was indeed, and rightly too, understood by the Christians to be a renouncing of their religion, and so accordingly abstained from.
Read. So their whole purpose was to get us away from Christ. That was it, and return us back to Caesar Bo. All right, go ahead.
The misfortune was that the pagans did not consider the inflexibility as a mere error, but as an immorality likewise. The unsociable, uncommunicable temper.
So they say we was antisocial. Go ahead.
Uncommunicable temper.
And you hear this today. On your jobs and so forth, we hear this. Go ahead.
And matters of religious worship was esteemed by the best of them as a hatred and aversion to mankind.
You see that? Read on.
Thus Tacitus, speaking of the burning of Rome, calls the Christians persons convicted of hatred to all mankind.
It had nothing to do with the fire. Had nothing at all to do with the fire. They convicted us for hatred to all mankind. They just needed something to pin on us. All right, that's all. They just needed something to put on us to bring us to the light, to say that we are haters of mankind. Go ahead.
But how? The confession of the pagans themselves concerning the purity of the Christian morals shows this could be no other than a being convicted of rejecting all intercommunity of worship, which so great was their prejudice that they thought could proceed from nothing but hatred towards mankind. Universal prejudice had made men regard a refusal of this intercommunity as the most brutal of all dissociability. The Emperor Julian, who understood this matter the best of any, fairly owns that the Jews and Christians brought the execration of the world upon them by their aversion to the gods of paganism and their refusal of all communication with them. But to proceed.
You see that? So we separated from them. Remember, the scripture says separate from the unclean thing. Okay?
It says that the Jews and Christians brought the execration of the world upon them, meaning the hatred of the world was brought. We brought that upon us by believing in Christ.
Right.
What's the scripture say? All nations shall hate you.
We should be hated of all
We shall
nations.
be hated of all nations. If they hated me, they're going to hate you. We bring this upon us. We want this upon us because it's written. It has to happen.
So that's what was going on. All right, go down. See if I want what else I want on here. Go down. Yeah, read that. The stated returns of the public games.
The stated returns of the public games and festivals were generally attended by calamitous events to the Christians.
So the stated returns of the public games and festivals were generally attended by calamitous events to the Christians. So it didn't turn out good for us. Go ahead.
On those occasions, the inhabitants of the great cities of the empire were collected in the great circus of the theater, where every circumstance of the place, as well as of the ceremony, contributed to kindle their devotion and to extinguish humanity. Whilst the numerous spectators, crowned with garlands, perfumed with incense, purified with the blood of victims, and surrounded with the altars and statues of their tutelar deities, resigned themselves to the enjoyment of pleasures, while they considered which they considered as an essential part of their religious worship. They recollected that the Christians alone abhorred the gods of mankind, and by their absence and melancholy on those solemn festivals.
So we wasn't present. Okay, we wasn't there. We wasn't at no football games. Wasn't at no basketball games. Wasn't at no boxing matches. Okay, we wasn't at no whatever sports events or whatever they had at that time, or any type of parties or revelings, clubbings, anything.
Parades, no Thanksgiving parades, none of the tree lighting on Christmas.
Right.
None of that nonsense.
We didn't take part in that. Read on.
And by their absence and melancholy on those solemn festivals seemed to insult or to lament the public felicity. If the empire had...
So it was an insult. Go ahead.
No, finish what you're saying.
No, so it was an insult to them that we didn't show up. Go ahead.
If the empire had been afflicted by any recent calamity, by a plague...
Oh, don't read that. Don't read that part yet. What you got?
I was going to say, can we read 1 Peter 4 really quick? That's exactly what...
Man, you jumped the gun.
Damn. No, you know what? You go ahead.
No, bring it out. I had it. I was about to go there next.
Okay,
all praise.
All praise. Yes, sir. 1 Peter 4, verse 3.
1 Peter chapter 4.
I can read for us. 1 Peter chapter 4 and verse 3. For the time past of our life may suffice us that have wrought the will of the Gentiles, when we walked in lasciviousness, lust, excess of wine, revelings, banquetings, and abominable idolatries.
Right, because these are things we used to do in the world. Before we came into this truth, before we understood who our God is, that we the Israelites, who Christ is, that he's a black man, so forth, these are the things we was doing in the world. Okay, go to the club Friday nights, Saturday night, wake up for Sunday, go to church, still drunk, so forth. These are things we was doing in the world. Revelings and partying, right? Go ahead.
Wherein they think it strange that ye run not with them to the same excess of riot.
So now we falling back from that. Now we become haters of all mankind because we don't want to do this no more. It's not of God. It's not of God, right? Read it again.
Wherein They think it strange that ye run not with them to the same excess of riot, speaking evil of you.
Right. Like your family members, they speak evil of you because you don't want to do the same thing. They call you. Don't you know your family members will only hit you up on the holidays? Right. Your birthday, you'll hear from no other time. Birthday, Christmas, New Year's. That's when you getting a text from them. Right. Okay? They ain't hit you up for nothing else. Read on.
Verse 5.
Because that's the damn devil. They trying to get you back into that.
Right.
Into that spirit. Go ahead.
Verse 5. Who shall give account to him that is ready to judge the quick and the dead?
That's it. Yes, that's all I want. All right. So go back to the page, and now you could read that part. If the empire had been afflicted.
If the empire had been afflicted by any recent calamity, by a plague, a famine, or an unsuccessful war, if the Tiber had, or if the Nile had not risen beyond its banks, if the earth had shaken, or if the temperate order of the seasons had been interrupted, the superstitious pagans were convinced that the crimes and the impiety of the Christians, who were spared by the excessive lenity of the government, had at length provoked the divine justice.
Yeah, because we was prophesying these things happen. That's why. We was on the streets teaching, just like the earthquakes and so forth today. Leadership been prophesying that these things are going to happen. So even at this time, when they were happening, they blamed it on us. Go ahead.
It was not among a licentious and exasperated populace that the forms of legal proceedings could be observed. It was not in an amphitheater stained with blood of wild beasts and gladiators that the voice of compassion could be heard.
Read.
The impatient clamors of the multitude denounced the Christians as the enemies of God and men, doomed them to the severest tortures.
So they doomed us to the severest tortures. Read.
And venturing to accuse by name some of the most distinguished of the new sectaries, required with irresistible vehemence that they should be instantly apprehended and cast to the lion.
Read that part again. The impatient clamors.
The impatient clamors of the multitude denounced the Christians as the enemies of God and men, doomed them to the severest tortures, and venturing to accuse by name.
And venturing to accuse, this is the part I was looking for. And venturing to accuse by name, read.
Some of the most distinguished of the new sectaries.
So those were those of us like that were bishops or deacons or captains or whatever. They were the ones distinguished. So that's what they're saying. Those by name. Those teachers and so forth that were known.
Like Acts 12.
Yeah, right. Like Acts 12. They were known.
John was beheaded, and then they took Peter also.
Took Peter also.
The Jews.
Just like with Paul and Peter when they got put to death. They were searched out. So he's saying by name, meaning they were known in the cities that they were in. Distinguished by name. Go ahead.
Required with irresistible vehemence that they should be instantly apprehended and cast to the lions.
Read.
About the time.
So they sought for the leaders. Okay, that were distinguished by name. They sought for the leaders. Go ahead.
About the time that Pliny wrote his celebrated letter, Trajan, who was then entering upon the Parthian War, arrived at Antioch in Syria. Ignatius was at that time one of the pastors of the church there, a man of exemplary piety.
So remember, we talked about Ignatius. We talked about his martyr, but this is what happened. This is how it went down. Read.
And in all things like to the apostles, during the emperor's stay in Antioch, the city was almost entirely ruined by an earthquake.
So, Antioch had an earthquake. Antioch had an earthquake. Go ahead.
It was preceded by...
It said the whole city was almost entirely ruined by an earthquake. Read.
It was preceded by violent claps of thunder, unusual winds, and a dreadful noise underground.
Read.
Then followed so terrible a shock that the earth trembled. Several houses were overturned, and others tossed to and fro like a ship at sea. The noise of the The noise of the cracking and bursting of the timber and of the falling of the houses drowned the cries of the dismayed populace. Those who happened to be in their houses were, for the most part, buried under their ruins.
Damn. Go ahead.
Such as were walking in the streets and in the squares were, by the violence of the shock, dashed against each other, and most of them killed or dangerously wounded. Trajan himself was much hurt, but escaped through a window out of the house in which he was.
Read.
When the earthquake ceased, the voice of a woman was heard crying under the ruins, which being removed, she was found with a sucking child in her arms, whom she kept alive, as well as herself with her milk.
Watch this.
The eminent station of Ignatius and the popularity which generally attends superior talents marked him out as the victim of imperial fury on the occasion.
They put it on him. They put it on him. Go ahead. Hey, give me Jeremiah 28 and 8. Jeremiah 28 and 8.
The book of Jeremiah, chapter 28 and verse 8. The prophets that have been before me and before thee of old prophesy both against many countries and against great kingdoms, of war, and of evil,
and of
pestilence,
Okay, this is what the prophet. If you're a prophet, this is what you're going to be prophesying. Okay, read it again, one more time.
The prophets that have been before me and before thee of old.
So this is Jeremiah speaking. It said the prophets that came before me. Go ahead.
And before thee of old, prophesied both against many countries.
Against many countries, read.
And against great kingdoms.
Against great kingdoms.
Of war.
Of what?
Of war.
Of war.
And of evil.
And of evil. Go ahead.
And of pestilence.
And of pestilence. Read on.
The prophet which prophesieth of peace, when the word of the prophet shall come to pass, then shall the prophet be known that the Lord hath truly sent him.
So why? Because the prophets ain't prophesying nothing about peace. Okay, we prophesying about overthrowing great kingdoms. Okay, war, pestilence, and any evil. Okay, that's how you could tell. That's how you know the difference between the prophets, the prophet and a false prophet. All right, now go back to Ignatius. Go back to the top. Go down. The eminent station. Read that again.
The eminent station of Ignatius and the popularity which generally attends superior talents marked him out as the victim of imperial fury on the occasion.
So obviously Ignatius probably was preaching. He probably was prophesying an earthquake or whatever. Praying for earthquake to come through. Okay, go ahead.
He was seized and by the emperor's order sent from Antioch to Rome, where he was exposed to the fury of wild beasts in the theater and by them devoured. About the same time, Simeon, the son of Cleopas, who had succeeded the apostle James as pastor of the church originally gathered in Jerusalem, but which, at the time of its destruction, removed to a small town called Pella, was accused before Atticus, the Roman governor, of being a Christian. He was then 120 years old, but his hoary hairs were no protection to him under the charge of professing Christianity.
Right, they didn't give a damn about how old he was. Read.
He endured the punishment of scourging for many days, but though his hardiness astonished, his sufferings failed to excite the pity of his persecutors, and he was, at length, ordered to be crucified.
Damn, go ahead.
This state of things, which is commonly termed the third persecution, seems to have continued during the whole of Trajan's reign. For it does not appear that his edicts against the Christians were revoked during his life, which, after having swayed the imperial scepter 19 years, was closed in the year 117, while prosecuting his great military expedition into the east.
All right. Let me see. Go down. Go down. Right here in the 6th year, we can read about Quadratus again.
In the 6th year of his reign, Adrian comes.
So remember Quadratus. Remember we read about them in the Fox's Book of Martyrs. Okay, so this is them in this book right here, which is called History of the Christian Church. All right, so it goes a little more in detail of what they were doing before they were martyred, or what led them to be martyred. Go ahead.
In the 6th year of his reign, Adrian came to Athens, where he was initiated in the Eleusinian mysteries. Tertullian describes him as a man excessively curious and inquisitive. His knowledge was various and extensive. He had studied all the arts of magic and was passionately fond of the pagan institutions. At the time of his visiting Athens, Quadratus was pastor of the Christian church in that city, having succeeded Publius, who suffered martyrdom either in this or the foregoing reign. It seems likely that this church had undergone a severe persecution, for we are informed that when Quadratus took the oversight of them, he found the flock in a dispersed and confused state. Their public assemblies were neglected.
Right, so they wasn't coming to new moons. They wasn't coming to any Sabbaths. They wasn't coming to any feast days after the persecution that happened. This is the 3rd persecution. Go ahead.
Their zeal was become languid, and they were in danger of being wholly scattered.
Right, so they were about to be just straight scattered. Read.
Quadratus labored indefatigably to recover them, and he succeeded.
So remember we read that in the book, The Fox's Martyr, the book. We read that he gathered everyone. He labored intensively, diligently to gather the flock back into that church, into that congregation at that time. Go ahead.
Order and discipline were restored, and so much that at a subsequent period, when Origen wrote his treatise against Celsus, he adduces the church at Athens as a notable pattern of good order, constancy, meekness, and quietness.
Right. Okay. So he restored the laws, everything back into that church at that time, back into that congregation. All right. Now, we're going to switch gears. What time is it? All right, 3:11. All right, so we can start. So now we're going to switch gears and get into what was called the Cyrenian Revolt. Okay, it was termed, I think, the Second Zealot War or something like that. All right. So give me the first book, War of the Jews, page 178. So all of this was happening around the same time that Ignatius was put to death, Quadratus. Remember it said at the end, go back to the last page. Go back to the last page.
It's all the early 2nd century AD.
Yep. Around, all this was during the time of Trajan's reign. Go down, let me see. Go down. I want to go down. Page before that. The last paragraph, very last paragraph. Read that again.
This state of things, which is commonly termed the 3rd persecution, seems to have continued during the whole of Trajan's reign, for it does not appear that his edicts against the Christians were revoked during his life, which, after having swayed the imperial scepter 19 years, was closed in the year 117, while prosecuting his great military expedition into the east.
Right, so during this time period, around 115 and 117, he was on a military expedition. So we're going to get into one of his military expeditions. In 117, it was in the east. But we're going to go into what happened that brought his military expedition to the west, to North Africa, to Cyrene. All right? So while the persecutions was happening, you had those of our people that was in the diaspora was revolted, caused the insurrection. All right, so give me War of the Jews. War of the Jews. So this book is War of the Jews by a military history from biblical to modern times. Damn, I ain't finna read the title. By Moreau Rosenthal and Isaac Mosesun. Huh? Mosen. All right. Go ahead. This book from 1940, I think 1940, somewhere around there. 170. Hold on. This might be the one second. Yeah, page 110. No. Hey, I'm sorry. Give me History of the Jews. My bad. History of the Jews. Solomon Grazel, 178. Yep. 178. My bad. Go down to the bottom. Yep, right there. The Diaspora Rebellion. Read that.
The choice before the people. How could the Jewish people survive the losses, the disorganization, and the shame? At this very critical moment in the history of the Jewish people, there were some who did not believe that the loss of the war was necessarily fatal to Jewish life. Study and Jewish action would guarantee the continuance of the people.
Mm-hmm.
But this was so unusual a point of view that most of the people in that day
Of that day
did not take it seriously.
Read.
Can a people live without a political state? That generation of embittered fighters felt that it could not be done. Either the Jews must regain their national state or be prepared to disappear.
So look, it was a spirit brewing at this time. It was a spirit that was brewing. This was a younger generation, fresh now. Okay, watch this. Read on.
The diaspora discovers its Jewishness. The diaspora to the west of Palestine had given very little aid during the first rebellion. This was due to its loyalty to Rome and its unwillingness to be considered part of the Jewish nation.
Mm-hmm.
Yet, when the war was over, these Jews realized that the rest of the world refused to make any such distinction. Rome made them pay the irritating and insulting tax to Jupiter's temple.
So, just to bring you up to speed, it's going into what happened 70 A.D. After 70 A.D., remember, they made us slaves. Titus and Vespasian made us slaves. They made us fight in the Colosseums and so forth. And we flew to North Africa, these different lands and so forth, right? So this is what is happening right now. So those of us that fled or that was dispersed into these lands during the second destruction of Jerusalem, the second temple, 70 AD, this is the younger generation, the descendants. Go ahead.
Rome made them pay the irritating and insulting tax to Jupiter's temple, and the pagans mocked at them as though they had also been involved in the Judean struggle. Too late, they understood that the misfortune of Jerusalem was their misfortune too.
Because they in the diaspora. Go ahead. So it's like they saying it's like they were there also. Go ahead, because that was our people. Read.
Moreover, fugitives from Palestine and redeemed slaves from among the captives told of Roman cruelty and Jewish heroism.
There you go. Read that part again. This is the point. Go ahead.
Moreover, fugitives from Palestine and redeemed slaves from among the captives told of Roman cruelty and Jewish heroism.
So that was those that was from 78. That was from 70 AD. They were the ones that became slaves. They were the ones that were fugitives. Remember, you had the Zealot war. These were the descendants of the Zealots, pretty much. Of John Gesha, how you say his name? Gushala. Okay, you had Simon Bar-Gora. Okay, these were the descendants. Go ahead.
Stirring their hearers to await the time when the score could be even.
You see that? Now they got a younger generation they putting that spirit into. It's a younger generation now, fresh, ready to fight. So they're putting that spirit on them to say, yo, it's time to rise up, man. It's time to get them back for what they did to us. Our forefathers. Go ahead.
A brief attempt to do so was made in Egypt a year or two after the Jewish defeat.
Read.
But it was quickly put down, and in punishment, the temple of Onias, which had functioned until then in the little town of Heliopolis, was ordered closed. Emperor Trajan in the east, for a general...
Go down. Let me see if I want that. Nope, I don't want that. All right. So from there, give me war. Now, give me War of the Jews. War of the Jews. Let me see. Page 110. Hey, do you have the page before that? Yeah, give me that. Yep, read that.
The Second Zealot War. The superpowers of the East and West, Parthia and Rome, were soon to clash in Trajan's War, or the Second Zealot Revolt.
Now, remember, the book History of the Christian Church, remember we read the last paragraph said he was making his expeditions into the East. So that's why I correlated the two To let you know, it's still in the same time period. We ain't going nowhere. This was just taking place at the time that he was going to the east, making his expeditions.
Remember, he was in Antioch when the earthquake happened.
Yes.
Because he was on his way.
He was on his way. Yep. So everything is, it's all in the same time period. It's contemporary. Go ahead.
This major conflict came 300 years before the march of the barbarians that plunged Western civilization into that chaos and despair known as the Dark Ages.
Read.
Yet, it was this world war that almost brought the Roman Empire.
Wait, hold on. Read it from the top again. The superpowers.
The superpowers of the East and West, Parthian and Rome, were soon to clash in Trajan's War or the Second Zealot Revolt.
I thought I seen something. Go ahead, read on.
This major conflict came 300 years before the march of the barbarians that plunged Western civilization into that chaos and despair known as the Dark Ages.
Okay, so let's talk about when we started ruling. This happened 300. This is 300 years before we were ruling. All right, go ahead.
Yet, it was this world war that almost brought the Roman Empire to its knees.
Damn, so this was a world war at this time. This right here was a world war that almost brought the empire to their knees. Because remember, it said the superpowers of the East and the West. You had Parthia and you had Rome. Go ahead.
And threatened to restore the primacy of those Afro-Asian and Oriental peoples smugly referred to as the upper barbarians by the Greeks and Romans.
Yo, read that again.
Yet,
hey, because understand, at this time, remember, Rome is on a decline. It's on a decline. Okay? It's not Rome, not the superpower that it once was. This is on a decline. That's why I said the superpowers at this time. You had Rome, you had Parthia done rose up, okay, at this time too. They became a superpower. So it was a world war. Go ahead.
Yet, it was this world war that almost brought the Roman Empire to its knees and threatened to restore the primacy of those Afro-Asian and Oriental peoples smugly referred to as the upper barbarians by the Greeks and Romans. Truly a world war in scope, the Second Zealot Revolt encompassed 5 fronts: Egypt, Cyprus, Libya, Judea, and the Iran-Iraq region, from Kurdistan to the Persian Gulf.
Read.
Opposing the Romans and their Hellenist cohorts in colonization and occupation were the formerly great peoples of the upper barbarians. The Parthians or Persians were fighting to defend their own shrinking empire. The Assyrians and the Aramaic-speaking peoples were fighting for a measure of autonomy. The enslaved blacks of Egypt.
The who?
The enslaved blacks of Egypt saw the opportunity to regain freedom in their ancestral land of Keft or Kemet.
Read.
And the Jews, the leaven of the uprising, were attempting to regain the glory of Solomonid and Hasmonean right.
Now, you got to see through Esau, man. They try to separate us. Now, he's saying the enslaved blacks, and then he said, yeah, and the Jews also, they were trying. No, we were the same people. Same people, but they're trying to separate us. But you just got to read between the lines. Read on.
The independence and fighting spirit of diaspora Jews who carefully followed events in Mesopotamia widened the circle of insurrection against the Roman Empire.
So now, this is about to be a world insurrection against the Roman Empire. Read.
From 114 to 117 CE. Before this global conflagration would end, 1 million people on each side would perish. The waters of the eastern Mediterranean, the Nile, the Tigris, and the Euphrates were reddened with blood. The flame of Jewish resistance to Roman tyranny did not die out with the crushing of the first Zealot rebellion of 66 to 72 CE.
Read.
It merely simmered.
So it merely simmered. It was still there. Go ahead.
Awaiting the growth of a new generation. These young men, nurtured by tales of the heroism of John of Gischala and Simon Bar Giora.
You see that? Remember, I said they were the descendants of those from the first Zealot War. So now this is a new generation, and you got the older men that was in the first Zealot War during the destruction. They was instilling that spirit into them to rise up, to revolt. Go ahead.
Awaited their moment for revenge in holy war. Like the ancient prophet Daniel, their elders charted a time when the stars in their courses above and the political constellations below would portend an auspicious signal for victory.
Damn. Didn't Nat Turner do the same thing?
Yep.
Nat Turner did the same thing. Okay. He waited for, I think it was eclipse.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he waited for like a solar eclipse or something. Right? Go ahead.
No Jewish leader scanned the skies more eagerly than Julian, the oligarch of Alexandria. He was a descendant of Alexander Lysimachus, the famous oligarch of the Jewish community of Egypt at the time of Julius Caesar. As oligarch, his 2 million strong Jewish community led the Jewish world, exceeding in power and influence the less cohesive communities of Judea and Babylonia.
All right, drop that. Give me Heinrich Grape. Give me History of the Jews, Heinrich Grape's page 393. I'm not going to have time, so we finish it up next, Lord's will, next show. 393. Yep. Go down. Let me see. Skip. Next page. Yep. When he withdrew into
his winter quarters in Antioch.
Hold on. Yeah, go start with he fought brave. Let's talk about Diabene.
He fought bravely against Trajan, but was overcome by the Roman forces. Trajan, unlike any of his predecessors, witnessed after a very short space of time the glorious results of his campaign. Conquest seemed to have met him halfway. When he withdrew into his winter quarters in Antioch, 115 to 116, in order to receive homage, the chief campaign was almost at an end. In the spring, he again set forth in order to crush any opposition and to carry into effect the long-cherished plan of conquering the Jews. But hardly had Trajan set out when the conquered people on the twin rivers revolted again. The Jews had a great share in this uprising. They spread anarchy through a great portion of the Roman Empire. Not alone the Babylonian Jews, but also the Jews of Egypt.
So you got you got those of us that was in Babylon. You got those of us that was in Egypt. Go ahead.
Cyrenaica.
All right, Cyrenaica. Go ahead.
Libya. And those in the island of Cyprus were seized with the idea of shaking off the Roman yoke.
Read.
As if possessed by an overwhelming power, the Jews of this far-lying district seized their weapons, as though to show the enemy that their power was not destroyed, nor their courage broken, and that they were not willing to share the weakness and degradation of the times, and to sink without an effort amongst the masses of enslaved nations.
So we was ready to go to war. Go ahead.
Such unanimous action presupposes a concerted plan and a powerful leader. From Judea, the rebellion spread through the neighboring countries of the Euphrates and Egypt, 116 to 117. And half a century after the fall of the Jewish state, a new race had arisen, who inherited the zealous spirit of their fathers, and who bore in their hearts a vivid remembrance of their former independence.
Go ahead.
The hope of the Tanite teacher, soon the temple will be rebuilt.
So we had a whole plan at this time. We wanted to rebuild a temple. We wanted our independence back. So that was the whole plan, right? Go ahead.
Had kept alive a love of freedom in the Jewish youths, who had not lost the habit of using weapons in the schools.
So we was bad with the weapons. So we didn't even lose the habit of using weapons. Go ahead.
A legend relates that Trajan's wife, Plotina, had given birth to a son on the 9th of Ab, lost it on the Feast of Dedication, which the Jews kept in memory of the victory of the Hasmoneans. And she had interpreted their sorrowing as the hatred of an enemy, and the rejoicing as joy for her loss. The empress therefore wrote to Trajan, instead of subduing the barbarians, you should rather punish the Jews who revolt against you. In Judea, the leaders of the rebellion appear to have been...
So look, they saying, look, you should, instead of, go back up. So it said, the empress talking to him, like, look, instead of worrying about those, the barbarians in Parthia and so forth, you need to worry about these Jews over here. They're causing havoc. Okay, they're killing us. Go ahead.
In Judea, the leaders of the rebellion appear to have been two courageous men from Alexandria, Julianus and Pappus. The former seems to have been the oligarch of Alexandria, or his relative, and a descendant of the celebrated Alexander Lysimachus. He and his companion enjoyed a princely position against the Jews. The meeting place of the revolutionary troops in Judea was the plain of Rimmon, or the great plain of Jezreel. There exists but a dim picture of the proceedings, and only the issue of the revolt is known with certainty. In Cyrene, whose Jewish inhabitants had been encouraged to revolt against the Romans immediately after their defeat, the rebellion was at its height. They had a leader named Andreas, also called Lucas.
Lucas, go ahead.
One of whose names was perhaps of an allegorical nature.
Watch this.
The Egyptian Jews, who in former times had been loyal to the Romans, this time made common cause with the rebels and conducted operations as in every other revolution. They first attacked the neighboring towns, killed the Romans and Greeks.
So look, this is a war between us and Esau. Listen, read it again.
They first attacked the neighboring towns, killed the Romans and Greeks.
And read.
And avenged the destruction of their nationality on their nearest enemies.
Go ahead.
Encouraged by the result, they collected in troops and attacked the Roman army under the Roman general Lupus, who commanded the legions against the Jews. In the first encounter, the wild enthusiasm gave the Jews an advantage over the Romans, and Lupus was defeated.
We was going to work against Esau. Now Lupus, we gonna get into him too. Lupus was Israel. He was Jake. That was a brother right there. Okay, he was commander of Trajan put him in command of a legion to come against us. Go ahead, but we'll get into that next week.
Another Josephus.
Yeah, another Josephus. Julius Alexander. Go ahead. Go to the next page. Yeah, I want to get to this part, man. Go back at the very bottom. The results of this victory.
The results of this victory were,
go ahead,
scenes of horror and barbarity on both sides, as was naturally the case in a racial war.
A racial war. That's what was going on. Go ahead.
Between people who carried in their hearts an ancient hatred, which
Jacob and Esau. Go ahead.
When it came to a fiery outburst, could only be quenched
by blood. That's it. Go ahead, read.
The heathens who had taken flight after the defeat of the Roman army marched against Alexandria.
Read.
The Jewish inhabitants who could bear arms and who had joined in the revolt were taken prisoners and killed amidst fearful tortures. The conquering Jewish troops felt themselves filled with the desire for revenge.
Read.
In despair, they invaded the Egyptian territories, imprisoned the inhabitants, and repaid cruelties with fresh cruelties.
Watch this.
The Greek and Roman fugitives took to their boats in order to escape pursuit on the bosom of the Nile.
Read.
But armed Jews followed close behind them. The historian
Appian,
at that time, an official in Alexandria, sought safety by taking flight at night and would have fallen into the hands of his Jewish pursuers had he not missed his way along the coast. The short description of his flight and his unexpected deliverance gives some idea of the terror excited by the Jewish populations who had suffered so long at the hands of their enemies.
Read.
The Jews are said to have eaten the flesh of the captive Greeks and Romans, to have smeared themselves with their blood,
Read.
and to have wrapped themselves in the skins torn off them.
I don't know about all that, but watch this.
These horrors are quite foreign to Jewish character and custom.
You see that? They made that up. We don't do that.
That's what Esau does.
Yeah, Esau do that. But watch this. This is what we did do to them. Read.
But it is probably true that the Jews made the Romans and Greeks fight with wild animals or in the arenas.
Just like they did us, we returned the favor. Read.
This was a sad reprisal for the horrible drama to which Vespasian and Titus had condemned the captive Jews.
Now we got Esau doing it. Go ahead.
In Cyrenaica, 200,000 Greeks and Romans were slain by the Jews.
Read.
And Libya, the strip of land to the east of Egypt, was so utterly devastated that some years later, new colonies had to be sent thither.
Yo, we desolated them. We wasn't playing. Hey, we gonna stop it there though. We get into more of the Cyrenian revolt next show. Lord's life last, Lord's will. All right, Officer Abaddon. So we're gonna end it there.
Hey, Israel, let's give it up for that class. That thing was amazing. All praise the Most High. Hidden history for you. Let's get to these announcements. Anytime now, IT. All right. So, remember, follow us on YouTube. Subscribe to Our Hidden History Radio on YouTube, all right? We're going to be going live strictly from Our Hidden History soon, okay? So make sure you hit the notifications button so you know when we go live. Also, subscribe to our YouTube channels, IUIC Philadelphia and IUIC Philadelphia in the Classroom, to get exclusive content from the leaders of IUIC. Donate to Our Hidden History on PayPal to iuic.philadelphia@israelunite.org. In the comment section, put OHH so you can help purchase more books to bring out to you. Donate to the Booster Club. You can donate to the Booster Club on PayPal to iuic.fundraising@israelunite.org. Subscribe to IUIC TV to get exclusive content from the leadership of IUIC, and tune in next to Deacon Malafire on Raven and Wolves.
All right, Israel.
Oh, sorry, yes. So, we're seeking your assistance to enhance our national broadcast. Kindly spare a minute to provide feedback by answering 5 brief questions. Go ahead and scan that and put in your survey, all right?
All right. With that, hey, I want to give a shout out to, oh man, IT.
They started off with a bang.
It started off with a bang, right? But nonetheless, we want to shout out IT. Definitely want to shout out also the sisters that made the breakfast. All praise to the Most High for that thing. All right, so Lord's will.
Some people are ungrateful for.
Yeah, right. So next week, Lord's will, we're gonna go more in depth into the Cyrenian revolt. All right, the revolt, the insurrection, it was crazy. So Life Lab, we go more in depth. All right, and then I'll leave that. Yeah, because we're gonna switch gears from Echoes of Rome. We're gonna switch gears. We're gonna Lord's will go into the Arabs. We're gonna deal with the Arabs. We're gonna deal with Ishmael. All right. So Lord's will, we get into that. We got to put some more information together, and then Lord's will, we see how we deal with the Arabs. Okay, we deal with the Saharan slave trade, their origin, Saharan slave trade, how they started conquering, where they at now. And we're gonna get into all of that. All right. So with that, we say shalom.
Shalom, Israel.